Hello and welcome back to the channel, everybody. My name is Dark Sage Walker, and Zelda Week so far has been fun, but rather difficult, as evidenced by the idea that I've lost 2 runs in a row. So, Link and Zelda could not save Hyrule. Maybe it's time for Ganondorf to take it over. So, not surprisingly, we are going to be doing the third Triforce shard today, the Shard of Power. And that seems especially interesting, what with Ganondorf actually returning in Tears of the Kingdom. Like, it's good to see the old boy coming back. Now, for whatever reason, my controller is not working. There we go. Okay, we're set and ready to go again. Alright, so the role ended up being classic soundtrack. And I think today we go with Rule, because we are going to be doing a power build. We're also going to do it with... we're going to do Shadow Rule. Not to be confused with High Rule or Low Rule. Come on, you had to have seen that coming. It was too obvious. So, Ganondorf has lots and lots of abilities. Lots of things that he can do. Lots of powers that he can access. Basically meaning that there's really no wrong answer to these skills. But we're going to go with the signature of Chaotic Buster. As that seems like a nice allegory for his, play tennis attack. But we also know that he's got quite a few other abilities. Even when he's not necessarily in his tip-top form in Wind Waker, we know that he's using a pair of swords. So we're going to go ahead and give him this. Not only will that help with control, but it'll just be a very good allegory for his appearance in that game. Obviously, we're referencing things like Ocarina of Time and Twilight Princess with this. Twilight Princess being especially interesting because, spoiler, he has a Zelda decoy that he uses to play the tennis attack with. See, as far as dash attacks, it's kind of hard to get this one wrong. Because Ganondorf has lots of different skills and lots of things that he can do to wreck people's day. So, how about... there we go. We know that he can conjure lightning. And then, what do we use for this? Again, there's so many things that Ganondorf can do. So, let's reference him as the Calamity. Actually, no. Let's see, what? So, because there's so many things he can do, again, I stress, there is no wrong answer. But I do think that we should... there we go. Because one thing that Ganon does very well is conjure monsters to do some of his dirty work for him. He's very good at it, as a matter of fact. So I think that is going to be our build. Now, I stress that there really is no necessarily wrong answer to what you build for Ganondorf. I was just trying to go off of as many canon appearances as I can think of. And you could even say that the Frost Blades are essentially a callback to his Beast Ganon form in Ocarina of Time. Because, let's be fair, Beast Ganon uses two big, gigantic swords. But, I mean, I kind of like the idea of making it a callback to his appearance in Wind Waker. And with Big Daddy Ganondorf being back in Tears of the Kingdom, it kind of feels like we're gonna have a lot more things to really play around with, and I am all for it. So I'm guaranteeing I'm making a mistake by doing this, but actually, you know what? No. Because part of the control method that I have relies on freezing enemies, let's go to Freya first. And of course, look who we get in spot number 3. So this is going to be rough. My minion said, yeah, but there's nothing there to attack. So I know I've said this with every video, but hopefully you guys are enjoying Tears of the Kingdom. It looks like an absolutely magnificent, brilliant title. I can't wait to play it myself, because, you know, there are certain issues. Namely that I'm having financial problems, so I don't want to spend too much time talking about that. It's not only not fun to think about, but also I kind of feel like even though I'm trying to handle my problems as best I can, we're just getting run around by all the sources that we're supposed to be relying on for help. So yeah. Even though life is a little difficult at the moment, I'm still pressing forward. And hey, I still want to play Wizard of Legend for you guys, and there's other things that I want to do. I know that Faith build kind of won the day with my Elden Ring poll. So that's going to be fun to play around with, just because there's so many different things that can do. Well, this goes really nicely with a power build. But Firewall is more of a canonical thing that Ganon can do. That having been said, Tidal Blast isn't exactly out of left field or anything. Because remember, in Wind Waker, he's using his power to hold up the entirety of the Hyrule Sea in order to essentially continue his stranglehold on Hyrule Castle. So water is not outside of his sphere of influence. You know what, I'm just gonna go with it. It kind of feels like we're using Wind Waker Ganon at the moment. Alright, now let's go grab ourselves a little help from Dr. Saul. go. So of the suggestions that I've gotten for characters to do for, oh, I really want Flame Fusion. All right, we'll probably be able to grab that. But of the characters that we've gotten for Zelda Week, theme run submissions, we now have the, see, outside of my own personal submission, which is Sia from Hyrule Warriors, which I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do, depending on whether or not you guys come through with even more suggestions, and I have to actually put it to a poll. By the way, we are recording earlier in the day, so we've got excited birds going on. Hopefully that's not a problem for you. If it is, just pretend like you can't hear them. But as I mentioned before, we've got Navi the Fairy, Tingle. Someone had brought up the Mapmaker fish from Wind Waker, so there's that. I had sarcastically brought up Agatha, the Bug Girl, but there aren't a lot of ways to really build Agatha, as there aren't a lot of Arcana that reference insects at all. So it would just be pretending that things like, the rapid fire agent are insects. Because, reasons. But I also got a suggestion that I really want to play around with, just because it makes a lot of sense. Especially considering that we are talking that this is all about Tears of the Kingdom, and that is a Guardian. Now, I really personally like that suggestion, and that's one that I'm more than likely going to roll with, just because it does make so much sense. So that one should be expected. Others? I don't know. I kind of like the idea of Navi, but if I do take that one, I kind of want to expand it out to just be one of the Great Fairies. And is it just me, or are the Great Fairies always kind of unintentionally creepy? I know that's not necessarily what the designers of the game were going for. They're supposed to just be eccentric, even though they are trying to be helpful. But they always come off as, either really creepy looking, or just have really just out there personalities. The game really wants me to have Vortex Veil. You know what? I'll put it in my off slot. As much as I like fairies, the Great Fairies seem really, like especially thinking about the Great Fairies in Breath of the Wild, and I'm guessing they're going to be back in Tears of the Kingdom. Like, is it just me, or do they seem... Like, I don't want to say it because, obviously, YouTube has its issues, but they seem a little, you know... I'd like to stress that there's nothing wrong with being horny, but I mean, at some point or another, you think they'd have to like settle it down a little bit. I don't know. Maybe I'm being too judgmental. But in the long run, I understand that the Great Fairies are supposed to be helpful entities, so I'm certainly not against them, and as said, I have a soft spot for fairies. Or, you know, a hard spot, depending on how you want to interpret that. Okay, we are going to grab the analytical monocle. Can we stop at this firing squad room? Now, thinking about how I would run Tangle, that one's odd. Like, I'm not sure how exactly I would run Tangle. Because his only real claim to fame is, you know, being maps, being that he thinks he's a fairy, and that he's really, really greedy. At least he seems like it. Then again, he could also just be naive and, you know. But I mean, come on, 398 rupees to decipher a Triforce chart? Like, boy, you've got issues. But, I mean, he does know his maps. But beyond that, how do I build for Tingle? The other question is, was that even a serious choice? Like, because I get the feeling that the person who had recommended Tingle was talking about the map fish. You know what, we'll roll with it. I will not be grabbing that. Because frankly, I like my signature to charge at the rate it is charging. Oh, and speaking of horny designs, frankly, that's kind of why I chose Sia. Because, I mean, yeah, I know, Koei Tecmo, but she's such a weird villain, because her whole thing is that she's just got this weird obsession with Link. So I'm not even sure it's that she's a villain. I think she's just... She's like this weird, like, secret admirer stalker person. Like, I don't know what her deal is. I get the feeling that Sia is... Because Sia and Lana are two halves of the same whole, and Lana seems, well, a good deal more wholesome, if not, like, energetic and peppy. So I get the feeling that what Sia is supposed to be is like a manifestation of lust, perhaps? Which, to me, is a really interesting idea for a villain. One who doesn't necessarily want the world or anything like that. They just, you know, they want their proclivities satisfied, and only one person will do it. Then again, I could also not be reading well enough into Sia's motivations. But she's also not a canon character, and sadly, neither is Lana. They're both from Hyrule. Good job, guys. That is just the most genius maneuver I've ever seen from my enemies. But yeah, they're both from Hyrule Warriors, which is, of course, a Legend of Zelda spin-off. Yes, we will go ahead and upgrade our robe. But I also think it's interesting that they did take some creative liberties with the game. Like, obviously, a female villain wielding the Triforce of Power until Ganondorf shows up and says, "Bitch, give me my shit back." So, I mean, I'm gonna pick this up just because it's reminiscent of the Sword of the Six Sages. I find it really interesting as well as intimidating that the weapon that was designed to kill Ganondorf just ended up being his weapon. Like the Six Sages said, "We've imbued this sword with holy energy, that it may smite the darkness and remove it from our lands." And Ganondorf just said, "Fuck you, bitch, is my shit now." Well, that's useless. Yay, I suck. Thunder Drop, I say no. And we will switch this up. Alright, so we now face off against our arch nemesis. Oh, that was not smart. works out nicely. Here, have this book. See, now you have a storybook to read to your kids back in Undermine. Of course, that could also be the Book of Mudora, but I mean, how many people remember the Book of Mudora aside from those of us that regularly play Link to the Past randomizer? Like, is that still the most... Sorry, is that still the most popular randomizer out there? Because I know there's lots of really good randomizers. Like, I know Celeste has a randomizer. I know Aria of Sorrow has a randomizer. Bloodstained actually nowadays comes with its own, you know, dev-supported randomizer mode. So I guess I'm just curious as to what some of the more popular randomizers are out there, because there's all sorts of them that I wouldn't mind trying. Though personally, I feel as though the randomizer for Ocarina of Time, although interesting, would take a little bit too long to play through. But I could also just be being closed-minded about it, because I love Ocarina of Time. Like, that's one of the Zelda games that I think really needs... Like, obviously it's been remade once already, so does it really need another one when it's already had one? I don't know, you be the judge of that. I just think it'd be interesting to see it again, get a, you know, modern console remake, maybe on the Switch, or the supposed Switch 2. Like, I wouldn't be against there being a Switch 2. Matter of fact, I think many of us feel as though it's already a thing, and Nintendo's just being tight-lipped about it, as they usually are. Like, we live in a day and age where anything and everything is leaked by internet sleuths, and somehow Nintendo still manages to sneak through surprises. Interesting, but I say nay. I thought I still had Flame Fusion equipped. Whoops. Owie. Who do you guys think you are? Yeah, get that toxic bolas out of here. Who do you think you are? That's the second time I've said that in quick succession. I need to find new lines. It's just been revoked. Darkseid, are you okay? No. No, I'm not. But I try not to talk about that too much. That's a lie. I talk about it all the time. Alright. Oh, where'd you come from? How long has that creepy stalker been following me? Help, I need an adult. Oops, that was the wrong spell. This is going much better than the last two runs, strangely enough. And don't get me wrong, the last two runs I was having fun, but the game just said, you know, between enemies with heavy tracking attacks and a full-on firing squad, you don't get to win. Didn't find the red. I think I see it though. So this is interesting, but from the numbers that I've just been given by one of my longtime viewers, it lowers your maximum health by 40%. That seems like kind of a harsh penalty. But it's a harsh penalty because it can boost your damage by up to 50%, which is huge. But you have to be at like less than 50 health for that to be a thing. So I'm just kind of saying no. Wow, I cast that the wrong direction. That's embarrassing. Nine damage. Man. I'm not saying that because I'm like upset about it. I just think it's funny that somehow the hardest hitting boss only managed to hit me for 9 damage. Let's switch this up. Alright, we are looking really good. And it has not escaped me that I called this yesterday. That somehow or another the next victory I got would be the villain victory. And admittedly, we haven't won yet, but come on. And thanks to Kasim's airy cloak, we can just tank that. Alright, I guess darkness has taken over the land of Hyrule. Go figure. Like I said, I called it yesterday. Somehow or another, the bearers of courage and wisdom couldn't succeed, but where courage and wisdom fail, power prevails. Just like the Splatfest. Yeah, I know about that, even though I didn't really play it much. So, there you go. Our first victory of Zelda week, and it's the antagonist that won. Kind of like Kefka Palazzo, if I do say so myself. But that's gonna do it for now. Our next run for Zelda week is going to be some of the more offside characters. And like I said, right now the suggestions are Sia, which is my own suggestion, Navi, Tingle, and a Guardian. And not gonna lie, I'm probably gonna end up doing the Guardian just because that sounds like an absolute ton of fun. I love beam builds, and I'm looking forward to doing that. Just a big old tanky spider monster. Who doesn't love it? So I want to thank you guys for coming and spending some of your free time with me. I really do appreciate you. As per usual, the YouTube 5-step would be ever so much appreciated. I hope you have a fantastic day or night wherever you are, and I will be seeing you in the next one. My name is Dark Sage Walker, and take care, everybody.